Am I the asshole for not covering my coworker's shift, resulting in her getting fired from her second job? Okay, so I, F21, work in a small and private liquid and tobacco store. We have a total of 10 workers, for most of them it's their second job. Only I and 3 other coworkers only have this job. However, I am a college student, so I am not working many hours, usually only 10 a week. Last Friday morning one of my coworkers, Alyssa, asked me if I could cover her shift. I declined because since I started working there 3 years ago, I am constantly covering shift of other people. However, when I ask for people to cover my shift, or trade shifts, nobody returns the favor. So in the last 6 months, I started to decline as well unless someone is actually sick or so. Alyssa said it's urgent, and since it was the Friday closing shift, I assume she just wants to go partying since she is known to ask for covering her shifts on the weekends so she can party. I suggested that she can ask some other coworker. She only said that nobody is willing to cover her shift, and I just said, sorry, but I can't. This conversation was exclusively via text messages. And #X200B. Yesterday when I came to work, my other coworker, Tara, she's kinda friends with Alyssa, at least at work, was pissed. I asked her what was wrong and she just said that I'm a selfish BCH and then explained that Alyssa apparently wanted to have her shift covered, because she was asked to come to some meeting with her boss at her main work. And since she missed it, she was fired. Apparently she was on the verge of being fired before and the meeting was to talk out stuff with her boss. And since she didn't come she couldn't explain herself and that sealed the deal for her boss. Coworker and I had a fight then. I told her that Alyssa didn't tell me why exactly she wanted her shift covered and if I had known the exact reason, I probably would have done it. Tara said that Alyssa didn't need to give me the real reason and the indicator that, it's urgent, should have been enough. When I said that Alyssa had said such things in the past just to go out partying, she just insisted that I just cannot assume that someone is lying when they say it's urgent. I asked Tara why she didn't cover the shift and she just said that since she is working a 40-hour week, she needs every rest she can get. And basically said that since I'm just a college student, I shouldn't be so difficult about working a few hours more. And #X200B. I'm feeling really shitty about this. I know that I didn't know the real reason why she wanted her shift covered, but maybe I really should have just believed her when she said it's urgent. I don't know if I should talk to Alyssa and what to say to her. And #X200B. Am I the asshole? And #X200B. Edit. Didn't expect this to blow up like this overnight lol. First of all, thanks for all the nice comments telling me it's okay to say no. While I'm doing it since I was completely overworked in the past, I still sometimes feel guilty about saying no. But somehow I feels nice that people validate this. Secondly, a lot of you said that her story sounds fishy. I personally didn't question it at first because we sometimes have meetings without boss after closing time, 9 p.m., as well at our store, but the more people commented the more I started to doubt Alyssa's story as well. Her main work is in retail as well, so I assumed it was just a stay here after the shift thing, but she didn't bother to call our boss to say it's important. And again, some people say it's unusual to have such talks on Fridays and it's also unusual to get told about such a meeting with basically no advance. Either Alyssa didn't care about the interview as much, or she lied about having it. I'm not sure, and to be honest I'm not sure I want to know. I will just stand firm as you all told me to and not try to let them guilt trip me. Not the asshole. Your coworker didn't get fired as a result of you declining her shift. She got fired for her performance, actions leading up to it, and that's nothing to do with you. The problem with lying is nobody knows when to believe you. And you have a right to have a life besides just college student. Not the asshole. You didn't get her fired. If missing a meeting was all it took for them to decide that, there's a history and a backstory there, and you had no part in any of it. She didn't explain, and it's unfortunate, but you didn't do anything wrong. Not the asshole. She should have just told you it was for a crucial meeting with her other boss that her job depended on. If she's called things urgent in the past to manipulate you into taking her shifts, then it's on her when that backfires and people don't believe a situation is urgent anymore. Not the asshole. If it was that urgent then she could have just called off. It's not your job to cover your coworkers' shifts. It's a nice thing to do on occasion, but since your generosity has been abused in the past, I certainly don't blame you for not wanting to help anymore. Not the asshole, but it seems like everyone at your work assumes you're the person to go to for covering shifts and expect you to comply, or you're a selfish bee. Also, if she was on edge of getting fired, it was going to happen sooner or later and she has no one to blame but herself. Bottom line. Don't let people bully you at work. When someone asks you to cover, decline if you want. You're able to do what you want on your free time. Obviously not the asshole. Tara didn't even think it was important enough for her to cover it, and she is Alyssa's friend. Not the asshole. You didn't get Alyssa fired. Alyssa got Alyssa fired. She shouldn't have scheduled a meeting during a time she was scheduled to work her other job. Also, after you said no to covering her shift, if she legitimately can't work that night at the tobacco shop, she should have gone to the owner/manager for a resolution. Would I be the asshole if I asked my friend to consider a different therapist? I, 25 female, met my friend Amanda, 26 female. When we were in college, and for as long as I've known her, she struggled with debilitating anxiety that causes her to do dangerous and self-destructive things. Until about 2 years ago, Amanda wasn't receiving any treatment for her anxiety. Then she found Mary, who she's been seeing ever since. According to Amanda, Mary is literally a miracle worker and the greatest person who has ever lived and everything Amanda wants to be. Amanda sees Mary multiple times per week and spends over $1,000 each month on therapy, which she definitely can't afford. She's apparently taken out several credit cards to fund this. In this time, she also doesn't seem to have improved at all. She's still doing all the same dangerous, destructive things as before. The way Amanda describes it, their sessions mainly consist of Amanda venting about whatever is upsetting her and Mary reassuring her that she's right to be upset and a good person. Amanda's told me that she likes Mary because unlike other therapists, Mary never challenges Amanda on or asks her to change her thinking. I'm glad that she has someone to listen to her, but based on what Amanda's told me and what I've seen over the last 2 years, it doesn't seem like Mary's doing much to help Amanda cope with her anxiety in healthier ways. Amanda is also completely obsessed with Mary. She tried to follow Mary, and her husband, on social media and was devastated when Mary explained to her that this was inappropriate. The first year, she tried to send Mary extravagant Christmas presents and was devastated when Mary said she couldn't accept them. She tried to send gifts anonymously, but Mary knew it was her and told her to stop. When Mary went on vacation last year, Amanda nearly ended up in the hospital because her anxiety was so severe. Mary encouraged Amanda to see another clinician she works with while Mary was gone. Amanda went once and was apparently so aggressive towards the other therapist that she said she couldn't see Amanda again. Amanda told me that she felt like she was betraying Mary and didn't think that anyone other than Mary would be worth talking to. Amanda has told me that she sees Mary as her best friend and she wants to quit therapy so that she and Mary can hang out. She also thinks this would be a good way to save money as Mary would still be able to support her as a friend, so she wouldn't need an actual therapist. Several of our friends and I are worried about Amanda's mental health and obsession with Mary. We want to, gently, suggest to her that she might think about considering talking to a different therapist. But none of us are actually in their sessions, and I know that it can take a long time to treat mental illness. Maybe our perceptions are wrong, and Mary really is great. But this just doesn't seem healthy. Am I the asshole? Edit. Since a few people have brought it up, I want to say that I'm not at all concerned that Amanda would ever harm Mary, or anyone who criticized her. Amanda is extremely sensitive and reactive, but in my experience she takes those feelings out on herself rather than others. She is very self-destructive, which is why I'm so worried that she's investing all this time and money into something that doesn't seem to be helping 2 years in, and Amanda is still doing risky things daily. Not the asshole, but given the aspect about the counseling, and not knowing how the sessions are going, it's not your place to suggest another therapist, even if you don't see progress being made. That's up to Amanda to decide, and trying to push her to make a change for something she sees so positively for herself could definitely push her further away. I will say, the lines that Amanda is crossing infringe upon the boundaries set up between clients and professionals. If she keeps at it, I think it's possible Mary might end the relationship herself, to which she'd have to figure it out for herself anyway. You may want to let it play out by itself. Not the asshole. Merely suggesting a change with a friend's well-being does not make you an asshole. Although Amanda will probably not take it too well given her obsession with Mary, so I'm not sure it's the most constructive way forward. If Mary is a therapist worth her salt, she is no doubt troubled by the boundaries Amanda are constantly crossing. It might be more fruitful to talk to her and enlighten her about Amanda's obsession, how she's going into massive debt just to see her, etc. Although that would obviously be going behind Amanda's back, so that may make you the asshole even though you have Amanda's best interest at heart. This sounds like the plot to What About Bob? Not the asshole. Thank goodness she is still managing to hold on to friendships. Maybe you could ask to go to a session and share how you are feeling. You care about her, but tell her if this dangerous obsession continues you might need to put boundaries on your friendship. I'm not saying she is dangerous, but the potential for more stalking could lead to a scene straight out of Sixth Sense. Not the asshole. As long as she's not asking you for money to pay for her therapy, let it go. It's none of your business. Good luck. Not the asshole, but Amanda needs serious help before she gets slapped with a restraining order. Not the asshole. Mary sounds like she's totally out of her depth as a therapist, to be honest. Not the asshole, but tread very carefully here. It sounds like Amanda is truly obsessed with Mary. If you do bring it up, just prepare yourself for the reality that she may not only reject your idea, but also may take out her anger on you. Am I the asshole for causing trouble between bride and groom? My work friend Jane, fake name, is getting married in January. I had never considered her to be a close friend, but she asked me to be a bridesmaid, so I guess that means something? For context, I was brought up in India, so it was a major culture shock for me when I learnt just how Americans are obsessed with their weddings days about being them. Like, I cannot stress this enough, our weddings are filled with at least 700–1,500 people, basically, everyone we know. And weddings are pretty standard unless you are very rich. Nobody actually hires a wedding planner or anything, and or even personally chooses the flowers and decorations. But the most shocking thing was, brides get mad at kids if they cry because they are taking away attention? Or other stuff like not having pregnant, more beautiful women at weddings, etc., etc.? Making people pay for their honeymoon? SMH in India, asses would get whooped for being so self-centered. But I have learnt to respect this no matter how bizarre for me. These are all real stories I have heard, and regardless to say I am scared of American brides and decided long back never to attend weddings and definitely not be a part of it unless it's my best friends. No, I am not gonna cut my hair for someone and dress out of my style, I am sorry. Jane knows this, she had laughed at my absurdity. So her asking me was a shocker, and I declined, citing the above reasons. She kept insisting, saying she isn't a bridezilla, and would be understanding and whatnot. After 2 weeks of saying no, I finally gave in. Cut to a month later. We have been texting in a group, trying to decide on dresses, bachelorette party and whatnot. Jane straight up said one bridesmaid to lose some weight, because she might feel ugly with the other girls, and it will not be aesthetically pleasing. I got mad at her for that, and she cited the classic reason saying, I have been planning this since I was a little girl, to which I replied, planning what? To be a bridezilla? And she called me BTCH. Saying I should be thankful that I get to be a part of the wedding, and when I asked her what did that mean, she replied saying I am the only POC bridesmaid, which will mean I will automatically catch attention, thus taking the limelight away from her, and she also has to be mindful of what color will suit me. I replied furiously that she begged me for 2 weeks to agree to this, and then I backed out saying she could play Tim Burton with someone else. I am also friends with Jane's fiancé, and out of anger, I told him the details of the fight. He got mad at her and they must have had a fight, and she called me crying saying I was a major asshole and should fix this mess. I replied she should stop being fat-phobic and racist and hung up on her. I know brides are supposed to be under a lot of stress and all that, so I am sort of feeling bad about this. Am I the asshole? Reddit? Edit. Wanted to say this, she said, don't be such a BTCH. I think going to her fiancé was a wrong move from my side, I should not have let my anger get me. But fiancé was a friend of mine before they started dating, so I thought I was obliged to. Not the asshole, and you should have stood your ground, but definitely drop out now. I guess Jane just wanted to show she wasn't racist? To which I say WTF. Good luck in the future if you still have to work with her, whether she gets married or not. Not the asshole. Although there are a bunch of stereotypes here. I have never known a bride like this before. I've only heard of them in movies and on Reddit. Not the asshole. Nah. You good. She was being a prick, fuck her. Not the asshole. She created the mess, she can fix it. I also don't understand America's obsession with weddings and why they make it into such a huge ordeal. Not the asshole. Jane as though. Absolutely not. I can't believe she did that to you. He has every right to know what he's getting himself into. Good for you. I, for one, hope he dumps her entirely. Not the asshole. I disagree with people saying you didn't have to tell the groom. You and Jane didn't have a minor spat about napkin colors. She was making statements about people that are mean and prejudiced. He had a right to know that she had such thoughts in her head. Not the asshole. She knew your views and seems to view you as a colonialist project. It's telling that her fiancé agrees with you. Am I the asshole for not letting my parents' friends sleep in my bedroom while they visit? Context. My parents plan to invite 3 families over next weekend. I, F, 20, will visit my cousin on the Saturday and spend the night at his place with a few friends, since it will be his birthday. Today I talked to my mother about how I do not like it when she goes into my bedroom and cleans up stuff or reorganizes things when I'm not in town. I go to university in another city and have an apartment there too. I'm just at my parents' house since uni is online because of the pandemic and because I've got a few weeks of semester break. She then said that I can clean my own things then, which I do. She just does not like the way I organize my things. Somehow we came to the topic that my parents will have visitors next weekend. They invited 3 families, friends of my parents which I do not know that well. I don't even know what their names are. And my mother was planning on letting someone sleep in my bedroom, in my bed. This was the first time that I heard about the plan of letting someone sleep there. She did not tell me, or ask me for permission or my opinion, before. Our house is not small and we have got plenty of room for air mattresses and stuff like that. We even have got a big sleeping couch that can easily fit 3 persons. She was getting mad at me for some reason. I truly cannot understand why. So I was questioning my opinion about the situation. Maybe I was overreacting and her plans are normal plans to make? Am I the asshole for telling my mother that I am not okay with her planning on letting their friends, strangers to me, sleep in my bedroom? And am I the asshole for telling her that I am not okay with her going into my room and reorganizing and moving my belongings? And #X200B. And #X200B. Since it came up a couple of times, I am not fully moved out yet. I was able to help at home with cooking dinner, cleaning up, watching my little siblings since there was the pandemic. I was able to attend university online from my hometown, in which I was living most of the time. I'm in my apartment when I need to study for an exam or write an exam in person. The rest of the time I'm at my hometown to help with my siblings and chores. I've already offered to pay rent but my parents don't want me to, since they say that it's my home too, so I still do chores and help wherever I can to contribute. So most of the time I'm spending at my parents' house. And #X200B. Addition. The air mattresses we use are as high as a normal bed. They are just inflatable beds, basically. And #X200B. Update. We talked about it. She told me that she understands me and she would not want a stranger sleeping in her bedroom as well. I told her that I am okay with them using my bedroom however they like once I have my own home and am not living in their house anymore. I am happy that she understood how uncomfortable this whole situation made me feel. We also talked about her tidying up my room when I'm gone and she understood my point of view. She said that she won't do it anymore. I will help cooking for my parents' visitors and setting up the sleeping spaces. Thanks for your opinions on the situation. I'm going with not the asshole on this for a few reasons. I've seen you say in comments that you offered to pay rent yet your parents turned down that offer, however you still do things around the house to contribute. While it might be their house, your room is your room and I'm sorry, but with a pandemic still ongoing it seems like a bad idea to have strangers sleeping in your room and on your bed. A gentle you are the asshole. I'm assuming you don't pay rent to have this room, not to mention your room at uni, meaning you are not even in that room all the time, and you will not be there. It is ridiculous to ask guests to sleep on an air mattress on the floor when there is a perfectly good bed that no one is sleeping in. You are the asshole. I can't imagine asking someone to sleep on an air mattress on the floor or a couch when there is an empty bed upstairs. You are being a bit precious here. You are the asshole. Living in a family home requires compromise. It's your parents' house and while you may not know their friends well, your parents feel comfortable having the friends over. The guests shouldn't have to sleep on the couch or an air mattress when there's an open bed. And I don't care what anyone says, even the best quality air mattress isn't comparable to a real bed. It makes sense you'd be unhappy about the situation, but don't fight it. Clean your room yourself and tuck your valuables away or bring them to your cousin's house with you. You are the asshole. It's not your house. It's your parents' house. Not the asshole if it was someone you knew well, sure. But total strangers sleeping in your bed, no thanks. I'd also hide away anything personal and if possible lock them up or take with you because some strangers will snoop. Not the asshole. Despite it's your parents' house, it's your bedroom. I wouldn't feel comfortable at all with some strangers sleeping in my bed too. Ask your mother if she would like some of your friends she don't know from anywhere to sleep in her bed. Winking face. Not the asshole. Pick up your personal items if your parents' lifestyle is shifting and your room is now basically an Airbnb type of transient space.